Remember the 1908 Olympics? Yeah, me neither. But do you know of anything that happens during it? Okay, yeah, people won medals, but something weirder. Can't? Then boy have I got a story for you. If I were to tell you about notable incidents that went down during the 4th Olympiad, such as biased British judges disqualifying American racers, or Finland's amazing last minute sign of representation, then you'd say, but this isn't what the video is about, you lied to me. And you're right. And I can assure you that me splurting out about those incidents are used for dramatic suspense about what I shall really tell you about. But I'm sure you know already. After all, you didn't click on this video for no reason. At least I hope so. So, say it with me. Russia was late to the 1908 Olympics. Yeah, sounds obscure, and it is as obscure gets. But how late do you think they were? A couple hours? Maybe a day or two? Yeah, it's a good guess, but no. They were late by 13 days. Why were they so late, you wonder? Well, that will be explained in due time. Out of the 22 countries participating in this great Summer Olympics, there was around 2,100 competitors carefully and unequally spread amongst each other, and they were all getting ready to kick ass for their country, which was the first time people competed for their nation and not for themselves or for fun. One such competing nation was of course Russia, or the Russian Empire if you will, a big guy with not a lot to show for itself. Except for being an absolute monarchy, a rural backwater, and reinstating how to not deal with a peaceful protest some years prior. They participated in this Olympics with their 6 registered and trusty athletes to put on the show and bring home the gold for the motherland. I call them registered because the ones who were involved in the lateness incident wouldn't have been listed down as participating, because you know, they were late. The Olympics itself had went on for 6 whole months, starting in April to ending in October. The first event to actually involve Russia was 3 months down the line, in July, at the shooting event. The event was held on the 11th of July. The Russian team has left their home country, arriving a little early for the event, hoping to meet and greet the other teams taking part, and to potentially boast about them being the greatest shooters in the world. But lo and behold, no one was there, just an empty shooting range. But how can this be, you ponder? They arrived early, yet the range is entirely abandoned. This is a riddle that can't possibly be solved. Except it can, and the answer to this riddle is calendars. Those things with words and numbers on them that sometimes come with pictures of puppies or tasteful erotic nudes, commonly known as calendars, have been a standing point in humanity's timeline. Calendars involve a lot of maths, astronomy, and time. The calendar that is commonly seen almost everywhere in the world is called the Gregorian calendar. But before this one, it was the Julian calendar. To save time because the whole calendar thing is way too in-depth to go over, the Gregorian calendar is currently 13 days ahead of the Julian calendar. Now as we are set in 1908, the majority of Europe and the UK have been following the Gregorian calendar for a long time at this point, but countries in the east, including Russia, were still following the Julian calendar. So when the shooting event was going on following the Gregorian calendar, it was just another Wednesday for the Julian calendar. But Russians were aware about the difference. Russians in a foreign diplomatic role, that is. For the average Russian peasant, they wouldn't have a clue that nearly everyone else in Europe had been using a different, more precise calendar. And in the case for the Russian Olympic team, I'm sure they were just as surprised to find out why they were so late. It wasn't just the Russians though who were unknowingly ignorant to the difference in calendars used. This one-sidedness even puts the British to partially blame for this, as they too weren't aware of Russia still using the old calendar. They just told everyone when the events are, and that was it. So it was just one whole big misunderstanding and miscommunication between the two parties. Regardless of the Russian team missing out on this event because of this calendar conundrum, they still had 3 more events to compete in later on: the men's marathon, figure skating, and wrestling, winning 3 medals total, 2 silvers in the wrestling and a gold in the figure skating. So you win some, you lose some, and you miss out on some. Russia itself would only bother to change from Julian to Gregorian officially during the Russian Civil War, with the Bolsheviks making the change. And it's where the confusion comes from the February and October revolutions, taking place in the following months because of the calendars. Alright, I think that's enough talking about calendars, so that's going to bring us to the end of this short story. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.